When I'm looking here, I'm looking at a mirror which is reflecting the back of the camera, which the screen of a camera is at the back of the camera. So I'm focusing on the lens here, and I don't get distracted by looking at my own image. Okay, that's what it's all about. I've got to have a drink for a minute, guys. I'm making this video for my kids, Steph, Nick, Cass, Sammy, Theo, the new one, Theo. So when he gets older, he can work out what I'm about. Anyway, that's what's making a bit of a video about it now. Glasses are off. I can see my mirror over there. Everything's all right. Yeah, background's, it's rough. It's a rough background. Okay. At some stage in my life, I wondered why my father came back, bought a block of land in Bullock. At some stage in my life, I wondered. No, I'll start again. When I was about 55, I read a book called Hell, West and Crooked about a bloke who came back from World War II and went up to the Northern Territory and became a crocodile hunter. And he had a great adventures. He's an Australian bloke, he's a good author, he writes a good story. He's not world famous, but it's still a good insight into what was happening in the Northern Territory back in, say, 1954-ish, 1950s. He ended up going to New Guinea, but that's another story. I thought to myself then, my life's a bit boring. And I thought, why did my dad come back and go and settle down up in Gippsland when he returned from World War II? Why didn't he go to New Guinea and go crocodile shooting, which when I thought about it was quite obvious. He wanted to settle down, he had a family, he wanted to start a family, he had his brothers and his mum and his dad, and they didn't have much at the time, and he came back and bought a farm and they all settled around there until they went off in different ways, and his mum and dad died, unfortunately, and that's why I am who I am and where I am. But anyway, when I was about 50s, I started to think to myself, is there any adventures left in the world? Because I'm a great one in believing that you can do things now, no matter how many times you tell yourself, I can't do that, and I can't do this because of this and because of that. If you tell yourself, you build fences around yourself, your own fences, which stop you achieving what you want to achieve. And that was what I wanted to beat myself with. I'm telling myself there's no adventures left. No, I don't want to go and sell every asset I've got. I'd go and travel the world working on oil rigs and things. I'm too old for a start off. I don't want to go into the Amazon jungle, you know, it's just, well, that was just a bit crazy. But I thought there must be some adventures left in the world. And I thought about it for a long time. And at this particular stage of my life, 2021, in the middle of COVID, I was sitting in Thailand, sitting over here in Thailand, in my little room here. I've made arrangements to stay here for 12 months. I've got a 12-month visa with my new family, and just the new family thing is an adventure. I'm in a foreign country, that's an adventure. I'm in a different culture, a culture that's the very same to what I grew up as a child in Australia, a culture of inclusiveness and concern for each other. I'm in that culture, and it's taken a long time to get here, gradually, but I'm here now and I'm loving it. I'm in the process of starting to build a new house. I bought some land out the road, very small house, that's okay, and yeah, so that's it. But the other thing that came back to my mind, this is a rambling thing and I'm going to have to do a lot of cutting and pasting, editing it. I'll come back to an adventure that I realised that I did have, and that was when I panicked. I was in Thailand and COVID came, and I did a panic evacuation with my mate back to Australia because we were being told the world was going to end as we know it. I didn't believe it because I can't see what they're telling us, what they were telling us way back then. I could not see the evidence for it. Now this is 12 months down the track. I still can't see the evidence for the fear and the panic. And I think some people are starting to wake up that the evidence for the fear and the panic was not there. So now we've invented a new COVID, another strain, and that develops new fear and panic. Anyway, that's a conspiracy theory or something like that. That's got not a lot to do with it. Just a bit of a background as to why I went out of Thailand a year ago. And what I've done since then has been fantastic. For 1 year, I lived in my off-grid cabin in Australia, in the bush, on my own, in the bush, in my off-grid cabin. I've been setting it up for maybe 4 or 5 years. I'd slowly assembled it and built it and improved it over holidays from my work and things like that. And sometime in Australia, a month in Australia, 2 months in Australia, then a month or two in Thailand, then a month back in Australia, and then a couple of months in Thailand, and a month back here. Periods of time like that, I've built extensions on it. I've got the water working, I've got new solar panels, I've got a better inverter, and the hot water service and the shower run on gas. Everything's working, and I spent a year living in that hut in the bush. And you know what? Absolutely loved it. I just loved it. And like, you can go and stay somewhere for 3 or 4 weeks and say, yeah, this is good, I'm roughing it, hurrah, hurrah, this is lovely. But that's not living in it for a year. But that's what I did up in the bush. I lived in it for a year. Lived in it for 1 year. I cooked all my meals, washed all my clothes, showered, had a couple of beers, cut the firewood, kept the fire going, stayed warm, stayed comfortable, read books, played video games because I set it up so I had power. I just had a great time. And I just share that with the kids, share that with you kids, and it was great fun. And it is 100%, it's 100% not a problem in the world to live off-grid. Now, I wanted to live off-grid back in the 70s. Before I got married, I used to read the magazines, Grassroots magazine, if you ever want to look it up. It's all about, not hippies so much, but people living with the land. It was a great movement back then. But I did realise that you can't do that and have small babies. And if you haven't got a wife that wants to go down that path, you can't do it, you know. You've got to, you can't make your own clothes, you can't process your own food and do all that and go to work and have a job. So I couldn't do it back then when I was raising my children, but I did do it for a year, probably 2 years, on and off, 1 year full time, and it was fantastic for a single person. But some of the thoughts that go through your head is this: laying in your bed, you know, going to sleep, or in the morning before you get up, and you think to yourself, what happens if I die? What happens if I die in my hut up here? I'm going to be a bit smelly by the time someone realises they haven't heard from me for a week. I'm going to be a bit of a mess for someone to clean up. So it's thoughts like that. And you think, oh, well, if I get sick, I'll go to the old folks home. Everybody thinks they're going to get sick and go to the old folks home eventually and die. But a lot of people just die, go to bed and don't wake up. And you do think to yourself like that. The other thought, of course, was if I go climbing up a ladder and I fall off. If I fall over and hit my head on a rock or a stick or a star picket or something like that, and I'm dead, I'm up there on my own if I haven't got the ability to make a phone call or press an EPIRB, which I carried with me sometimes, but not as often as I should. But you can't, this is the whole point, you can't go through life. The whole point is you get the hand down. The whole point is you can't go through life not doing things because of what might happen and what might go wrong. You've just got to go ahead and do it, because one thing is certain: you are going to die. That's certain. You are going to die. That's what you do in between. And you haven't got a date of when you're going to die. So you've got to get into it and do what you want to do, because you only get one go. And that's what I'm doing here now. I'm at the age of 67. I'm trying to learn how to present to a camera, how to present to a video by practicing on YouTube. I'm trying to make a YouTube channel, but I'm having real problems finding a niche audience, and I'm having real difficulties. I'm having real difficulties with that for the reason that I can pick a niche audience, say preserving food with salt or something very small, and I believe that I can get a lot of subscribers, but I'm going to be bored with it. I'm going to be bored with a niche product like Brian G. Johnson's niche is teaching people how to get better subscribers base on YouTube and how to grow their channel. That's what he does. But I've watched him, he puts out a video a week roundabout. I've watched him and he's really good at it. But my God, he must be getting bored with this message for all these people trying to make YouTubes. He does it, he's doing it for the last 10 years, I think. Every week making a new video. And you can only cover so many things. So I reckon he's getting bored with it, but he's making a lot of money. He's got a good subscriber base and he's making money on it, so he's got to keep doing it. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to get bored. And so I'm practicing. My big key thing is I've got to work out how to tell a story. I've got to learn how to grab your attention. I've got to learn how to the technical aspects of delivery, of surprises in the screen. See that? That's a good knife. Too big to be useful. I picked it up at a second-hand market over here in Asia. I thought it might have been a second leftover trench type knife or a fighting knife from World War II or something, but no, I think it's just something somebody's made up. See, the use of a prop while you're making a video. Anyway, those are the tricks I've got to learn. I've got to learn to move around in the focus of the camera. I've got to learn to get the hands down, out of the way, not between, get them down. And props, I'm a bit dry today, I'm on keto. Going back into keto again, we went down to Cha Am, Hua Hin for 2 days. Fantastic down there. Big parties, nobody wearing masks, only in the street and where the officials are. Nobody's dying. Okay, except for old people and sick people, which die from flus and flu-like things all the time. That's what kills old and sick people. Pneumonia from getting flus and colds. Anyway, that's conspiracy theories, don't talk about that. Props. Bloody pigeons. Pigeons are making a mess all over my patio out here. The buggers. Okay, yeah. Right, I've nearly talked myself hoarse. Had a great time living off-grid in the bush in Gippsland. That's about all I can think of to say. I'm not very agitated. I'm not very. What did I say before? What was the word? I'm not being very invigorated. I've got to try a lot harder. I've got to be invigorated. I've also got a script. I've got to pick up the thing and read this, because when you're going to video to cameras, you're allowed to stop, look at your notes, start again. When I was up, blah, 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 and doing blah, 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 I remember. See, because I can edit the stop and read the script out. And I'm looking there, I'm not looking there again. Blah, blah, blah. I can pick up a script. Small mirror. I've got to buy a small mirror, and I've got to angle it and fix it to my phone so I can see the back of my screen somehow. I've got to do that. I've got to smile. I've got to be happy, and I've got to stare at that thing there, and then I'm allowed to stop. I'm allowed to wind that up and say, yeah, well, that's what I'll do. I'll get a small mirror. I'll go and get that tomorrow. Then I'm allowed to stop. And I'm allowed to look at my notes, and then I'm allowed to say, and these things are fantastic. They're only cheap ones, but you get the true sound of what your video audio is going to be like, because what you hear on the phone is not a true piece. It is not a true representation of what your sound on your video sounds like. If everybody listens on a phone, which 80% of people do, not a problem. But if somebody's got a big screen and big speakers or headsets, gamers and that type of thing, you've got to listen to what your audio is like on a set of headphones, even cheap ones like this. Pick up my script, read the next one. Mo cream. There you go, it's a shopping list, Mo cream. Guess what I'm doing? I'm going to try and curl the ends of my moustache. So I've got to get some moustache cream, because that's the only way I think it's going to curl it. I thought it was always natural, but I think it's like all haircuts and all hair do's. There's hardly any of it, except for a except for a buzz cut. There's hardly any of it that is natural. It's all played with and had product put in it. Now read the notes again, because I can edit that out, can't I? Now, number 2, get back here. Hey, don't turn off yet. The next video is about blah blah blah. It's coming up soon, up here. Check up there, see? That's it. Catches.